Hello, student. Welcome back to this chapter, scattering phenomenon in quantum mechanics. So, in the last session, I discussed this one, that is the differential scattering cross section given by this equation, and this was the expression for the solid angle, and also we got the expression for the total scattering cross section for the two particle systems. And now we'll see what is the scattering amplitude. So to study this scattering amplitude, we have to consider the two particle system like this. So this is a two particle system with respect to this origin, and this is the one particle, this is the another particle, and R1 and R2 are the position vectors of these two particles with respect to this origin, and this is the midpoint of these two particles, and this capital R is the position vector connecting this midpoint to this origin, and the small r is the distance between these two particles. So these are the two interacting particles. So this is the incoming particle and this is the scatterer particle. So we consider the system of two interacting particles as shown in the figure in this diagram. If the potential V depends only on the relative distance, potential V means the potential which is scattered around this scatterer. Because in the last class, I told that there will be scattering phenomenon only if this incoming particle is inside the sphere of that potential, which is spread over this scatterer. So if the potential V depends only on the relative distance R between the two particles, then in the center of mass systems, the Schrodinger equation for the relative motion is given by this equation. This is minus h cross square divided by 2 mu del square psi plus V of r psi into E psi is the Schrodinger equation for these two particle systems. And where this mu is equal to small m into capital M divided by small m plus capital M is the center of mass, or sometimes it is also called as the reduced mass. Out of these two, where the small m is the mass of the incident particle or incoming particle, and this capital M is the mass of the target. At large distances, at large distances from the scatterer, the effect of the potential is negligible because that potential around the scatterer decreases as you are moving away from that scatterer. So because of that reason, at large distances from the scatterer, the effect of the potential is negligible, and the parallel beam of the incident particles can be represented by a plane wave. So this is the plane wave. That means this is the wave equation before the particle reaches near the scatterer. We assume that means the potential is tending to zero because it is the function of the distance between the two particles. And this is the wave equation when the incoming particle is at a sufficiently longer distance from the scatterer. So that we are representing as a plane wave. So this is a plane wave, and this is the amplitude of this wave, where A is the amplitude of this wave. And this K is as usual, as you know, this is the wave vector, or it is also called as the propagation wave vector, and it is given by k is equal to p upon h cross, where this p is the momentum of that particular particle, incoming particle. But here, since it is a relative motion, this momentum is written as mu into v. Actually, momentum is equal to mass into velocity. Here would have been substituted directly the mass of the incoming particle, but we can't substitute because this is a relative motion. So that is why this mu is placed here, and this mu is the reduced mass or the center of mass of the two particles. So this is multiplied by this v, velocity of the incoming particle, divided by h cross. As the incident beam is along the z axis, we can write this equation 5 as psi I is equal to a e raised to I k z. Here I represent that this is the incoming particle or incoming wave. And we also assume that the detector is far away from the scatterer. That means in the two particle system, this is the incoming particle, this is the scatterer. And here we have to place a detector. Means after this scatterer, we have to place a detector in order to detect the scattered waves. So here we assume that the detector is far away from the scatterer, and we are interested only in the asymptotic form of the scattered wave. That means when the detector is sufficiently at a longer distance from this scatterer, this spherical wave can be considered as a plane wave. So that is why we are looking at the asymptotic form of the scattered wave. And as the scattered intensity depends on this theta and phi, here this theta is the scattering angle, whereas this phi is the azimuth angle, that is the angle between the plane of reference and the plane of scattering. And hence the spherically diverging scattered wave can be represented as like this. So here psi s represent the scattered wave. This is at r tends to infinity. That means this is the case when this r is sufficiently high between the two particles, and this is equal to a into f of theta comma phi into e raised to I k r divided by r. And as usual, this a is again the amplitude, and e raised to I k r is the wave, plane wave, and this f of theta comma phi is called the scattering amplitude. This quantity is called as the scattering amplitude, and that means this small a is the amplitude of the wave before scattering. So this is the amplitude of the wave after scattering. So that is what this is called as scattering amplitude. So for spherically symmetric potentials, the scattering amplitude, this f of theta comma phi depends only on theta, and thus these two, that is e raised to I k z and f of theta into e raised to I k I divided by r are the two eigenstates of the particle, because in this case, in the equation this 8, this is the eigenstate. This is the eigenstate of the particle. That is, this is the eigenstate of the scattered particle after scattering, and this one is the eigenstate of the particle before scattering. So that is why these two, this one and this one, are the two eigenstates of the particle, incoming particle. And the most general asymptotic solution can be written used for these two eigenstates as in this way. So psi is equal to a multiplied by into the bracket e raised to ikz plus f of theta into e raised to ikr divided by r. So this is the asymptotic solution for this incoming particle. So then we will have the relation between this scattering amplitude theta, f of theta, and the differential scattering cross section d sigma theta. So for this, the probability current density vector J of r comma t is given by J of r comma t is equal to h cross divided by 2I mu into the bracket psi star del psi minus del psi star psi. So this is the probability current density for a two particle system. This is the probability current density vector for a two particle system. That is why if it is a single particle here would have been written only the m, but here we have written mu. So this mu comes wherever you are considering a two particle system, a combined system. So that is why this is the probability current density for a two particle system. So if J of r comma t is calculated with the function in equation 9, what I shown in earlier, we get interference terms between the incident and the scattered waves. That means this gives the meaning that the incoming and scattered waves may get interfered with each other. These do not appear in the usual experimental arrangement because such type of care is taken so that there is no interference between the incoming waves and the scattered waves. And therefore, we can calculate the incident and scattered probability current densities by substituting the two parts of this psi, means equation 9 separately into equation 10. So first I am substituting the this term, that is e raised to ikz. That is, this is for the current. This is the current density for the incoming particle or the incident particle. So here, this we have to substitute into equation 10. This is the equation 10, and here we have to substitute. So I have substituted here psi star. Psi star is actually it is the complex conjugate of this psi. That is why this is written as a e raised to minus comes here. That is the only thing. E raised to minus ikz minus comes complex conjugate into del psi is there. That means this is differentiated. So after differentiation, this becomes a ik. This is a. This a is the amplitude as usual, and ik comes because of differentiation into e raised to ikz. Next minus, and here del of psi star. So here you have to, so you have to differentiate this one. So it is minus I k comes because of the differentiation of this psi star into a is the amplitude as usual, and e raised to minus ikz into psi is that. So this psi is a into e raised to ikz. So this is this is after substitution, and now you can cancel whatever things get cancelled. Is cancelled with this, and this is cancelled with this, and a into a is written as a mod a square because this a is in a positive quantity. So it is written as a mod a square multiplied by this ik, and here minus into minus is plus, a into a is a square and ik. So this together is 2 times a square ik multiplied by this quantity, and here you cancel whatever the things get cancelled, 2 get cancelled, I get cancelled. So you are left with the h cross k divided by this mu into a square is that. So this is square. So this is equal, this h cross k is referred as the momentum in quantum mechanics. So this h cross k is written as a p, it is a momentum P into A square, this A square divided by mu. And from equation 6, you can go back and check from equation 6, P by mu. This P by mu is V, velocity of the particle. So this P by mu is written as V. So this is V into A square. So this is equation 11. And so this Ji, this Ji means probability current density for the incident particle is equal to V into mod A square. Similarly, we have to do for the, we have to calculate the probability current density for the scattered particle. So this we have to substitute into equation 10 and we have to work out in the similar manner. So we are getting this as Js is equal to h cross I mod A square divided by 2I mu is that is all as usual things. Only this 1 by R square and these two are not there. They are coming. Everything is same. And now what you can cancel here, 2I get cancelled, and write the remaining things. And again, this H cross K is from here. H cross K you are writing, H cross K you are writing as a P momentum, and that P divided by this mu. H cross K is momentum, that is P. P by mu is again V. So here V is written velocity of the particle, and this F of theta square is there, and this A square mod A square is there into this R square, the 1 by R square is there. So this is the scattering probability scattering amplitude for the scattered particle, where this 1 by R square is the solid angle subtended by the unit area of the detector at the scattering center. Then this total scattering cross section is given by, it is equal to the probability current density of the scattered wave per unit solid angle divided by probability current density of the incident wave. So this is the definition of this total scattering cross section. And now you substitute these numerator and denominator values from equations 11 and 12. So from equation 11, so this is from equation 12 and this is from equation 11. Just you have substituted those things, and here again this V get cancelled, and this mod A square get cancelled, and you are left with simply F of theta mod square. This is also a positive quantity, so we are putting this inside a mod. And so this equation 13 tells that the scattering amplitude, this is the scattering amplitude. The scattering amplitude is thus related to the experimentally observable differential scattering cross section. So this is the differential scattering cross section. And since sigma of theta has the dimension of a length square, so F of theta has a dimension of length, because sigma of theta is equal to F of theta square is there. Here square is there, but here square is not there. And this is having the dimensions of length. So you should have, this is having the dimensions of length square. So therefore it should have the dimensions of length. So F of theta has the dimensions of length. So it is the scattering amplitude. So that means how much the particle is going up from the mean position to a maximum extent is given by the scattering amplitude. So in this way, we got the very important relation between the differential scattering cross section and this scattering amplitude. Thank you for listening.